Hello everyone, today I'm back with another video, and today's topic actually is iron farms. So I've made a few iron farms in the past. Those were mostly small scaled, up to 62 villages, and I promised I would make bigger farms. So it took me quite a while to get started with this, but I recently spent quite a lot of time on iron farms, and this is the first finished farm. It is a 192 village iron farm. This farm is a self-resetting iron farm, which means that you don't have to build it in the spawn chunks. And if it for whatever reason stops working, for example because you unloaded it, you can just press a button and AFK it for some time and it will reset itself. It also is non-locational, so you can build this in any quadrant, but it is directional, like almost every iron farm. With 192 villages, this farm produces about 7.5k iron per hour. This is the same as 13 stacks of iron blocks. The reset time of this farm is 3 hours and 45 minutes. There are three main things which make this farm starter friendly. First of all, this farm doesn't use any slime. This means no slime blocks as well as no sticky pistons. So you don't have to spend a lot of time in the swamp to gather the slime. This means that the farm also doesn't use glazed terracotta, so you don't have to have access to a mesa biome in order to build this farm. This farm is extremely easily to expand. So you can use this from ranging from 1 village up to 192 villages, and you can add 32 villages at a time, so you can run this farm with any multiple of 32 villages. This makes it really easy to build it in stages, and for example use the farm to get the needed iron to build the rest of the iron farm. The last advantage is the number of villagers. This farm can run with only 12 villagers. Normal iron farms, even the smallest iron farms, often use 13 villagers. I managed to only use 12 villagers by reusing this villager. So it both detects the doors inside this door wing, so all these doors, as well as detecting these doors at the bottom which direct the village that is created over there closer to this door wing. It might not seem like it's that useful to have a farm that uses 12 villagers instead of 13, but this actually can make quite a big difference. For example, if you just started a Minecraft world and you find a village, then it can be the case that it only has 12 villagers instead of 13. In that case, you will need to breed villagers in order to build normal iron farms, but you can actually just build this iron farm without getting yourself a new villager. This farm does require about 7 stacks of pistons and therefore requires quite a lot of iron to build. But as said, you can build this farm in stages, and you can actually just start by building the spawning pads and just add some doors and some villagers around it to get yourself a 1 village iron golem farm and AFK this one night, and this will actually already give you enough iron to build the entire farm. I now quickly want to go over the reset of one of the villages just to show how it works. In the first step, this villager will be pushed up, and these doors are on the far end of the farm and therefore create a new village. Now the doors are within the detection range of the villager. And you can see a new village is created. So now the second step will happen, and in this step this villager here on top of the sand block will be let down by this piston. And you can see now it can detect all the doors here at the bottom and drag the center all the way underneath this door wing. In the third step, this redstone line will be activated, and in this case it will power this line here and extend 1 piston here. As you can see right there, it just extended. This, so pistons are transparent and now Skylight can pass through here. And this means that all the doors in this row are now valid. And as you can see, they already have connected to the blue village. What now is important is that the radius of the blue village is a bit bigger than the villages that are already in place. So you can see there is still a yellow village connected to these doors, but this village will disconnect in a few moments, and then the radius of this village will just be as big as one of those villages. So here you can see the yellow village disconnected, and also this villager was pushed up and now it can detect those doors. And it connects to the blue village. So in this case it doesn't connect to the blue village because it was the closest, because the center actually was way over there. But the trick that is used is that the radius of the blue village was a bit bigger. So the only village these doors could see basically was the blue village. And therefore they connected to the blue village. So now the center of the blue village is shifted all the way over here and is close to these doorwings. And so when this doorwings get this signal, one of these pistons will extend and therefore validate 11 doors on this side of the farm. As you can see, this piston extended, and already the doors are connected to the blue village. So now it's just a case of waiting for all these doors to disconnect from the village again. So you can see the first doors disconnected and it will immediately start building a new village. The only doors that don't connect are the doors inside the doorwing. So when all the satellite doors, that is the doors that you call, for example, these doors that direct the village around, all those doors will disconnect. But the doors inside the doorwings, they won't disconnect, and therefore it will be perfectly centered on top of the other villages. So we can just see that in action. Now the village actually is only connected to these doors and the two sets of doors in the doorwing. So if you wait just a little longer, then actually those doors also will disconnect. And now the blue village, as you can see here, the outline is just directly on top of all the old villages. And that's it, the iron farm is completely rebuilt, and now 192 villages are stacked into this one spot. So right now there are no villagers or iron golems spawning, and that is because I don't have any villagers here to populate the village. I just need to add 8 villagers and then iron golems will start spawning. So here you can see the first iron golems. So it's actually better to use more than 8 villagers. So here I have a quick overview of the raids. So 12 villagers total, that are these 8 villagers plus the 4 villagers that are elsewhere in the farm. They produce a total of 4.5k iron per hour, but this of course is far from the maximum 7.5k. So if you add 10 more villagers here, and you get a total 6.7k iron per hour, and 32 gives roughly 7.3k iron per hour. Now I want to spend a bit of time to go over the different systems that are used in this farm. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Skylight access control. So for this I prepared this little area. So in front of you is half of the Skylight access control, the other half will be mirrored and on that side. So what the Skylight access control does is each time you activate it, it will extend one piston, and in the case of my farm this will destroy one ladder and that Skylight through, so some doors can be registered. So I can just give a few quick examples, but it should also be capable of all resetting in one time. So I first want to give a bit of background information about the system that is often used, and what this does is it basically transfers the signal strength here to there. You can see that like this. And it resets when you unpower this comparator. There however is a bit of a problem with this system, because signal strength only goes up to 15 and I needed at least 16 pistons per side. Part of that is what this additional redstone does. So you can see that the first piston here is not powered by this redstone dust, but actually by this torch. When I activate the system for the first time, it actually won't add 1 to the signal strength here. You can see that the clock is currently disabled because this torch here is turned off. What it instead will do is shoot 1 item from this dropper into this dropper. And this will, well, it will complete the reset of the system here, and it will turn on the first piston. So like this. Now this system here is ready to be used, and when I now activate it, this system actually will be used and the signal strength increases. Like you can see right here. And this will just add all the other 15 pistons. And there is one last thing that happens. So when the signal strength reaches the other side, all the signal strength from here has been transferred to there, and this dust will turn off. What this in turn will do is deactivate this redstone line and unpower this piston here. So right now it's on its last piston. So you can see now this piston here is powered, which means that it blocks the signal. But when that last piston there extends, this piston actually will unpower and the signal can now travel to the second set of pistons. And then when you want to reset all of this, you just have to shoot the items that are inside this dropper to this dropper. So this will again turn off this torch, which will reset all the redstone. And I can now just show it right here. And you can see all the pistons retract again. So in front of you can see the villager transportation system. And this system here is quite special because this villager has to make well, 2 different movements. So first it needs to be able to go up and down to register the doors beneath the door wing. But second of all, it also needs to move to the other side of the door wing in order to deregister the doors inside the door wing. So that happens when you reset the farm. And this is done with this system here. So this system here might seem quite simple, but it wasn't actually that easy to come up with, because the villager AI inside minecarts and villagers inside minecarts in general, they can be pretty annoying. And there are actually many cases that don't work, at least not without key pistons. So the last thing to talk about is the redstone. So the redstone really has the same components as most iron farms, except that the hopper clock here is a pistonless hopper clock, because otherwise I had to use a sticky piston. So for the rest it is pretty much the same. So we have a comparator clock for a 6-second timer, and then a hopper loop to control the different actions. But I try to reuse the same redstone lines as much as possible. So for example, right here we have 2 outputs of the hopper clock going into the same redstone line, and here we just have a small decoder. And also on the falling edge of this comparator we also activate the Skylight access control on this door wing. So these 2 comparators here are responsible for all the 3 actions that need to happen on this side of the farm. Then the comparator of the other side is both responsible for the villager over there, and on the falling edge it activates this side of the door wing, so the sky access on this side of the door wing. So also this comparator has 2 uses. So this just makes the redstone nice and clean. Then, so this other redstone, which you can see right here, is used for the reset. So this both goes into the dropper line, which shoots the items to the other hopper to reset all the pistons. And this line also goes into the villager transportation system. So I'm currently in the world that I will also provide as a world download, and I just need to tell one last thing. So right here we have this hopper, so you can see where it is positioned in the redstone. And the items in here actually correspond to the number of villages that your iron farm can stack. So in this case that is the full 192 because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these door sections. And 6 times 32 is 192. But for example this farm here only has one of those sections, so in this case you only need 32 items inside this dropper. And the last farm, this one has 96, so in this case you need 1.5 stacks of item in this hopper. So for the rest you don't need to change any of the redstone if you want to expand this design. The only thing you need to change is the amount of items in that hopper. So I think that's all I wanted to mention about this armor farm. So there obviously will be a role download in the description, so you can check it out and build it for yourself. And depending on what you guys think of this armor farm, I might actually do a tutorial on it, because I think it's not only a usable farm for the technical community. The fact that this farm doesn't use any slime and other rare blocks makes it so that it is usable outside the technical community, which might make a tutorial interesting. I still have to think a bit about it, but if I feel like it, there might actually come a tutorial for this farm. Anyways, that was all for this video guys, and see you next video.